Welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have with us Ian Moyse. How are you, Ian?
I am good, Shahid. Good, thank you.
That's great to have you on the show.
A pleasure, and thank you for the invite. Do appreciate it.
No problem. So we always like to allow the guests to introduce themselves and kind of elaborate on all the wonderful things that you're involved with.
Sure, thanks. So I'm Chief Revenue Officer at a company called OneUp Sales. We help businesses transform the productivity of their sales team using our cloud-based tool that simply sucks the data they've already got and turns it into insights and enables them to gamify, to drive contests and to drive engagement, particularly in a time when, of course, we're all remote. How do you engage remote staff to be more productive, engaged, and still have some fun with their colleagues as part of it? And across my career, I've been in sales for many years, sales leadership, focused in the technology area, and for the last 15 years in the exciting area of cloud technology, the area that powers all the wondrous new stuff, AI, big data, all the stuff that we're hearing about, mobility, smartphones, and all that interesting stuff.
Yeah, cloud is great. Made our life easier. But I remember in the beginning, everybody was afraid of it, right? Saying, oh, our data's in the cloud.
I'd say there's still reticence, right? And there's still right to be. You still have to do your diligence. Not all clouds are born equal. There's still issues about data and security. But you're absolutely right. If it wasn't for the sake of cloud technology, where would we have been during COVID? Video conferencing that we all take for granted now, we wouldn't have had the Zoom, the Microsoft Teams, the Google Hangouts capability.
Mm-hmm. So this engagement component that you're talking about amongst colleagues, can you paint a picture and explain how that will look in an organization?
Sure. So it's really easy, right? Organizations have typically with their CRM and phone systems, there's lots of rich data, but it is just that. It is data. It is at best information. What we do is connect up to that very easily, suck that data into a platform that brings it together and presents it in a way that is very easy to understand, very graphical for the salesperson or recruiter. We deal with a lot of recruitment firms, and enables you on the back of that to run competitions, for example, to incent your staff in terms of, it might be you want to run a competition across the business for revenue generation this quarter, or for new customer acquisition.
That's
any
cool.
of the metrics we can see, you can create nice leaderboards and areas. And gamification works, right? It works at a human level, a fundamental level. We all take part in gamification, often without knowing it. My young daughter has done a lot of online schooling, particularly during COVID, and they provide a nice system which does maths and English tests, and it's all interactive, nice graphics and games. But guess what? Depending the results you get and how much you take part, you get different points. And I watch as she goes back again and again to that league table to see, where is she in the school league? Where is she overall? How am I doing against my friends? Oh, I'll go back in. If I only did about another 10 minutes, I might be able to overtake my friend in class. It's self-motivational because of human behavior. And we just take data in the business and utilize that to drive greater productivity. And in the remote world, it works beautifully because you've got people sat at home who don't know how they're doing. They're not sat next to a colleague where they can easily get a feel and a measure of, here's a team of 6, here's a team of 50. Am I performing? Am I driving this out? How do I know? I'm right now sat at home, although it may not look it.
Yeah.
And how would I know what my colleagues are doing? Am I doing enough activity? Am I doing the right stuff compared to them? I've got no visibility. We give you that visibility, so you know how you're doing. There's no surprises. Everyone knows how everyone's doing in a very simple, clear way.
And can this be like an API, the gamification component, and inject it into any organization, or do they have to have your entire platform because you need the data?
No, so the key is they need our system, but it's all cloud-based, so there's nothing to go and install or worry about. We switch on very quickly. The key is in reverse, if I may. is that we suck the data from the systems you've got. So today we're integrated with about 27 systems. So as long as you've got one of those, we don't integrate with everything. There's so many things out there, but a lot of the major systems we pull data from automatically. So it's very easy for us to switch this on, pull data that you've already got, and show you exactly where you are now within a very short period of time. This is not a big thing to get going, and that's the beauty of it. People want to get going quickly, don't want a 3-month project. This is within weeks, we have you fully up and running. We implement at a fixed price. That sort of says it all, right? We don't have this, how long we're going to charge you, we're not sure yet. It's a fixed installation and we get you up and running quickly. We have an incredibly high renewal rate every year because it works. Once you've got this thing turned on, it engages people, it drives productivity, it drives greater results and outcomes. Therefore, the ROI is very quick and demonstrable.
And what are the top 3 platforms that you have an API with that you're?
Well, the biggest 2 I would say that people will know and use the most widely are Salesforce, CRM, and Microsoft Dynamics.
Okay.
That's a big, but that's 2 of 27. That's a big part of the market. So yeah, it's very, very productive, very easy to turn on, very easy to understand.
Mm-hmm. And this, it's not based on industry. So as long as they're in sales, you can incorporate this into any industry.
Correct. As long as you've got metrics in CRM and phone system that you care about, if you care about metrics and KPIs, it works. If you don't really care about that stuff and don't measure it, we're not going to be able to add value because you haven't got the fundamental baseline. But most organizations where you've got some type of sales, there are metrics, right? It's the nature of the beast. Whether it be the number of phone calls, whether it be the number of solid phone calls where you've connected, whether it be emails, new leads created, new demos created, new pipeline value, and anything where there's a metric you're measuring that if it's driven in the right direction and if it was driven further, improves your outcome, we can help drive the behaviors using this system.
So forgive me if I continuously dig deeper on this gamification component, but I personally find it very interesting. Sure. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of other components into your program that complement it, but for this gamification is something that excites me because I can see how it can really put a spark under someone's chair. It could just really lively up a salesperson or someone in the industry kind of trying to grow their numbers. It just adds more pizzazz to it, right? So that the challenges and the prizes and all those kind of things, are those based on their own personal preference that they design, or Correct. Do you have in your platform where they can pick a plug and play option?
We're providing a tool which fits their business and the data they want to use and see, but they set their own contests and prizes.
Okay.
So it's very flexible. And here's the bit that I think people are scared to mention in business. It brings some fun to it. Now it's not about fun.
The main priority, I think.
Well, having fun right at work. Yeah. We don't. It's not the old school. People messing around. This is fun, that motivation side. Mm-hmm. And I would suggest at this point in time, how many employers need to think about that, and they are thinking about it in HR, etc. About you've got people who've been furloughed, who have been at best have been working from home, have been distanced from colleagues, distanced from the office, and they may still continue to work at home. We've got a different dynamic to engage those employers, those employees, those human beings than we've ever had before. And this doesn't fix it, right? It's a tool that helps you, but you still need managers engaging. You still need the human element. But this is a tool that makes it easier. We speak to a lot of businesses where they talk about, yes, we run contests, and the commonest thing we get when we ask them is, how do you do it? And what the answer we often get is a spreadsheet, a whiteboard. Well, that's difficult when you're not in the office, or we email something around, and then manual labor. So we often get this poor person here spend once a week, spend this many hours in pulling data and manipulating a spreadsheet, creating a pretty PowerPoint slide or graphic, and then emailing it to everyone. So it's once a week.
Yeah.
It's inefficient. It's a load of effort.
Boring.
So you recognize the need and the benefit of doing this, but you're doing it poorly, that it's not driving the outcome. If I see something once a week, oh, okay, oh, brilliant. My daughter goes in every time she's done a lesson, she goes back into the league table.
For sure.
The gratification of I've done so. Oh, how have I improved? If it was once a week, if she would do the lessons and then once a week it would update, it would not motivate and drive that behavior, I can assure you. So this has got to be something that is automated and is in front of people easily and graphically, that they look at it and go, hang on a minute, Bob's overtaken me, I'm not having that. Or Sarah's now top of the league. I was top yesterday. She worked a bit extra at the end of the day yesterday. She's overtaken me. Right, I'm up for it today. I'm going to challenge her. You know, that's the behavior naturally people in sales environments have. This just provokes that behavior to be crystallized to do something.
Mm-hmm. And you know, those regular pep talks and morning huddles and all that kind of stuff, they're great, you know, a traditional way, but as soon as you leave there, everything is gone. Like it's just you go on with your day and you start getting busy, whatever. But this is something that is part of them. Like it's, even if they're not by their computer, they're going to be connected. Like they're going to be thinking about those graphs and those numbers, especially if they do it in week, like more than some time. Like if they're doing it consistently on a day-to-day basis.
We grab them even if they're not by the computer, right? We've done Microsoft Teams integration. We've got some others near coming, because what that means is you can set celebrations up. So for example, every time a deal is won over this value, let people know, and the system will do it automatically with their photo, with a nice, you know, it's pre-done. The system will do a nice, let's say a Microsoft Teams alert, that you get a Teams alert in your channel. Well done, Alison just closed a deal for £13,000. When no humans had to send that out or notify them, the system does it based on, we're seeing data hit our platform and you've said, I want to do that. Or we've just seen one of our team book 10 demos this week. When they hit 10 demos, celebrate it and tell everyone, well done on one of the SDRs booking 10 demos or booking 8 meetings or whatever you want to set up, as many as you want. You can have these nice celebrations firing to TV screens or coming out to them in things like Microsoft Teams to prompt them and reach to them and go, here's what's going on in the business, without humans being involved. That's the key.
No, that's the key.
You can't do this manually.
No. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, because it's automated. Like, you know, we're not we want to decrease as much as possible, especially if it's organized in that manner. Is there like a minimum number of team members to have this set up, or like is there some kind of a tier system that you have?
Yeah, it's minimum is 5 people, and I would suggest to be very transparent with prospective customers is, if they've got 2 employees or 3, yes, you get competition, but and we have something in our platform where you can challenge someone, so it's just a one-to-one competition. But realistically, you're not going to get our value of our platform if you're 2 or 3 sales people, right? When you get to 5 in a team, or 7 or 10 or 50, you've got enough going on that competition is rife amongst people. Even if it's a sub team, you've got a team of 8 people here and another team over here. The beauty is we don't just do people against people. As you get bigger and you have teams, we enable you to have team contests. So you can say, look, team A is competing with team B, but team A is 9 people and team B is 5. Our platform handles all that, normalize it, as it makes it a fair contest. So you don't even have to have the teams the same size.
Good.
You know, there's lots of things when you get into this. You think about, how's that going to work, or how does multi-currency work if they're in different countries? Doesn't matter. We handle all that.
You thought of everything.
Yeah, because otherwise, the more you dig into this, and the more you go into organisations with different structures of sales team and things, you think, well, how can we often learn from our clients when they'll say, yeah, but that won't work because, well, either we've already figured that out through the historical experience with other customers, or we are continually getting ideas from different industries and customers where they're suggesting things. Hence, we're enhancing. We've got a lot of things coming out in the next 3 to 4 months, which will enhance further, particularly based on feedback we've had of now people are working in a different way. They're working more remotely.
Yeah.
So therefore, they want to behave differently. How do I engage people when they're working at home differently than when they're in the office? We've got some of that done. The rest is underway at the moment.
Well, the world is opening up, things are going to go back to normal. This type of engagement, I think, will always be there, even if they're sitting right beside each other.
Well, Shahid, I'd argue, is the world going to go back to normal?
I think so. I'm a very
Deloitte,
positive guy,
Deloitte, no, good in that way. But I mean, in terms of, I don't think we're all going to be, it's going to go back to exactly how it was before. Deloitte just announced, I believe today, that they're going globally, totally remote.
I would, in a corporation, I would keep it because look at the savings.
Yeah. So there's the thing, right? Whilst we can argue the world, we're going to be positive and come back, our work environment and the way we interact with customers is going to be different, because I think we'll see less people traveling long distances for meetings, because people are more receptive to this now in video. We've become, actually, do I need to travel for 5 hours? I think we're going to have customers saying to us, let's do it over a Zoom or a Hangout or whatever. They're going to dictate to it as well. There's nothing wrong with meeting people, but I don't think, I'm used to the world where you might go on a large project to meet a customer 6 or 7 times in their office. I think what will happen now is they'll do lots of this first, and then they'll have some meetings for the ones they've shortlisted, the important meetings at the end. Yes, you'll meet because we want to, but we are going to work in a different dynamic. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, and it's you make a good point, because that ease of doing business is priceless. You can't put a price on this. The time, I absolutely love being at home and working from home. I wouldn't travel or like any of that. I would just love it. But the emotional component to it, the humanization of it, I meet with tons of people on a consistent basis, and I always hear they need to see them. They need to sit with them. They need to have a coffee. They need to have a drink. Like they're really, really itching to be in that community, have a coffee together at a coffee station at lunchtime, or stuff like that. They're really, really emotionally missing that. So I don't know how that's going to pan out. The corporations, it makes total sense to keep it at home, but the people, I don't know. It's more productive for sure.
And I think whilst the coffee shops, we could argue, have suffered, they may benefit because long term, because think about this, we've gone totally remote as a company. We've said we're not going to have an office. We'll meet on a regular basis as management and as the company. And we've just done the first one. We were allowed to based on the rules. But we've gone remote. Well, if a customer's gone remote as well, we've gone remote, there's no office to meet in. We can't meet. I'll come to you. No. Okay. You're going to have to find is it going to be a hotel lobby? Is it going to be a coffee shop? Is it going to be a restaurant? You're going to have to find a location which is neutral to meet in, which also means it's interesting on travel, right? Because how often, and I remember before we'd meet someone in London, I've traveled into London, and they've traveled into London from different directions earlier in the day. It may be that you say, well, actually, forget where that was. Where are you? Where am I? Oh, and I've had it happening already where we've prearranged. We said, look, when we come out of this, we'll meet. And people are, whilst our work location historically had been totally different places, actually where the two individuals live is closer to each other. And we've said, we can meet in that village locally. It's halfway between me and you. Great. And both of us, it's going to be better. But we're still meeting, to your point, as human beings. It's going to be a more personal location. And I think that's the thing that's changed. Customer engagement. A lot of the time now, I'm talking to customers and they're in their house and their kids are running. When would that have ever happened before? The best you'd have seen their family pictures in their office, but you were distant. It was a work environment. Now, there is the ability to build more rapport and relationship with a prospective and customer based on, I've had my kids running before, and prospects I'm talking to, have spoken to my daughter, stood here and said, "Oh, hi, how's that work?" Right?
Yeah.
But that's become what we're all used to.
Yeah, there's pros and cons. That's great. For me, like when I was in the corporate world, I remember I used to daydream all the time because I had a baby, and then I had a second child, a new baby. So I was so like, I'm at work, but I hated being there anyways because it was work. I wasn't a business, right? So it was always my itch. But I used to just say, "Oh, I wish I could just be with my kids. I wish I could just work at home." I used to just ask my manager, "Please, can I just work from home?" Because that's not our policy. You can't work at home. Like
Yeah,
if you're a
yeah.
manager, like something really high, you could have a few days, but other than that, you have to come here. It's like, damn. But now that I look back, it's like I manifested this or something. I
Well,
love being home.
it's changed the mindset of a lot of
Yeah.
people, right,
Mm.
to trusting people. And also, I think what people are going to look at now, which partly our tool does, but is a little bit of, you want to monitor the performance. If you are going to go remote, you want
Yes.
to know what's going on. You want to know that there's still productivity, and that's the word that
Yes.
matters, right? It's not activity,
Mm-hmm.
it's productivity.
Yes.
Are people at home still delivering the output that you would expect them to deliver in the office? And if you're getting the output, and I think that's the realization people have had, is actually, and these organizations willing to allow this and close their offices, is we now we've got this work and we've provided the tools and the technology to enable people. In the majority, we're getting the output we expected anyway. Oh, so they've been forced to come to realization, whereas before it would have had to be, how would you have found out? We're going to send everyone home and see what happens. Everyone was too fearful of the downside instead of looking at the upside. This forced them to experiment. We all had no choice, and they've realized this is possible. This is doable with the technology we have today.
Mm-hmm.
As long as there's some management in place and there's some structure around still engaging people. I think the hardest thing is the mental health side, which none of us as managers and leaders have been trained to deal with, is what different behavior do. Sending them at home and giving them a PC and technology and internet and all that stuff's easy. But what environment have they got? Do people have a work environment at home? Do they have somewhere? I've got here monitors set up, nice setup, it's working. But what about young people who are in a house share? And there's 5 of them working at home, and the noise in the back, have they all got space to work? What's the internet like when there's tons of people on it as opposed to managed? And there's a lot more complexity, and what's the impact on the human? Some people don't like being isolated. They live alone and they don't, like me and you, have children and family around them. What happens? They're alone during the day, and then hang on a minute, we've just taken away the social interaction. What impact could that have on their productivity and their mental health? So I think it solves one problem, but there are different problems that need to be anticipated and will come out of this that need to be dealt with.
So I just thought of an idea. I don't know if this is something that that you think is good or not, but how about having this engagement or this kind of component that involves family members as well? So having them part of what the dad does or the mom does in sales, they're actually part of that excitement somehow, and the engagement, incorporate the family into work. That's another something attractive. I don't know.
Well, I think partly what ours sort of does that in a way, right? Because if you've got salespeople at home and you've got celebrations coming up and these type of awards and things happening,
Yeah.
that does come into the family, right? So,
Okay.
my kids know if we win an interesting new client or something happens, or they get a bit of a gist of it. What our technology does is, if there's a nice celebration with their parents' celebrating, or so it brings that in a little bit. But it's.
This
I just think that there's a lot to. I don't think we've solved the fully solved. Not us, but generally, the remote working thing. We're in a much stronger place than we were pre-COVID, based
mm,
on a lot of things have been figured out and changed.
mm.
But I think there's some things yet to come up. I've been waiting to see, mental health reports coming out about Are we going to see COVID PTSD? Are we going to see employees who were high performers not now being the high performer based on nothing's, nothing, their mentals,
It's
their
mindset,
health?
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is this your idea? Like, is this something that you came up with, or there's other people involved as well?
No, I won't steal the thunder of others now. So I joined the business. My role in the business, as I've done in many organizations, is to drive the growth, is to take what's been built and now take us through an accelerated growth, owning the revenue side and the go-to-market of the business. So no, I didn't come up with the idea of the technology. Our founder is a well-known, he does gaming commentary. So this was where the idea came from.
Good.
He is a well-known in the gaming world. When you get the professional commentators, where they broadcast, it's a big market, big industry. He's a professional,
cool,
known entity in that, and through that gamification, gaming background, looked at the beginning 5 years ago to how could he take what his passion was, his understanding for motivational, what drives people and competitiveness, and make use of that in business. And that's where this came from.
Excellent.
And we have competitors. We're not the pioneers of the whole industry, but we've carved out a niche where we do a lot of things very interesting. And one of the big things for us is the way we've made it so easy, so simple for everyone in the business to take part in this and understand it. Many other products out there miss some of those. They don't make it easy to integrate or as flexible as we are for the customer. This is how it works. We very much fit into a customer's existing business and existing data much more flexibly. So it's a really exciting area. We've got lots of things coming, lots of ideas, and interestingly, through COVID, we continue to grow. And I think part of that is because people's mindset has changed to not go out and find gamification, but how do I engage my staff? How do I drive productivity? How do I motivate them in a very different working environment with a lot of them remotely and some coming back to the office? How do I have fun, motivation, and engagement? Those are three very valid words in terms of engaging the human being. And how do I do that? And we slot in and give them a framework to work with.
Excellent, Ian. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, if you're looking for a easy, engaging, increasing sales growth in a dynamic, fun way, you have to get in touch with these guys and check it out, check their demo. And Ian, Mr. Moyse, thank you so much for joining me today. It was an honor to meet with you. Stay in touch. Where are you based?
Hey, thank you. Yeah, so we're based as a business. We're based out of the UK. We're distributed all around the UK. I personally am just about 25, 30 miles just west of London. But yeah, our team based on remotely. We recruited during COVID. Quite a few people, and we took the attitude of we can recruit them anywhere. So they're now we now have people spread to all corners of the UK.
Yeah, that's great. No, it's excellent. Again, if you're in Toronto or in Canada anytime, message me on Instagram and definitely stay in touch. Again, it was an honor to meet you. You guys are going places. I love the concept. I think it's super. So great work. Everyone that's involved, great work. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you.